Waterfalls are nature's masterpiece, a breathtaking display of power and beauty that draws millions of visitors each year. They represent adventure, romance, and the raw, untamed spirit of the wild. People travel across the world to stand in their midst, hear their roar, and capture the perfect photo. But for some, that awe-inspiring beauty becomes the backdrop for their final moments. The very power that mesmerizes can turn deadly in an instant, and a dream trip can become a nightmare from which there is no waking up. Case 1. The fatal selfie. Vishnu Viswanath and Meenakshi Murthy were a young, adventurous couple from India who had fully embraced the American dream. Living in California, they ran a popular travel blog called Holidays and Happily Ever Afters, documenting their journeys for thousands of followers. Their photos were vibrant, full of life, and often featured them in stunning, dramatic landscapes. In October 2018, their passion for adventure brought them to Yosemite National Park, a place of granite giants and breathtaking vistas. Their target was Taft Point, a famous overlook with a dizzying 800-foot sheer drop, known for its spectacular, unguarded views, a perfect spot for the kind of epic photos their brand was built on. On the evening of October 23rd, they hiked to the point, setting up their tripod near the cliff's edge as the sun began to set. Other hikers saw them, a couple in their element, capturing the golden hour light against the vast Yosemite Valley. But as darkness fell, something went horribly wrong. The next day, other visitors discovered their camera equipment, abandoned near the precipice. Park rangers were alerted, and peering over the edge, they spotted two figures far below on the steep, rocky terrain. It took a specialized helicopter team to reach the remote location and recover their bodies. The investigation concluded that Vishnu and Meenakshi had fallen while trying to take a photo. An autopsy later revealed a tragic detail. Both had been intoxicated with alcohol, a factor that likely impaired their judgment and balance on the treacherous, uneven granite. In a hauntingly prophetic post written months earlier, Meenakshi had mused about the dangers of chasing the perfect shot, asking, "Is our life just worth one photo?" For this vibrant couple, the answer was a heartbreaking and permanent yes. Case 2. The deadly embrace. On a hot summer day in July 2011, a group of friends from a close-knit church community in California's Central Valley made a trip to Yosemite National Park. Among them were 22-year-old Hormiz David, 27-year-old Ninos Yakub, and 21-year-old Ramina Badal. They were hiking the popular Mist Trail, a path famous for its stunning, up-close views of the 317-foot Vernal Fall. The river was raging that day, swollen with a heavy spring snowmelt, and the air was thick with the waterfall's powerful spray. The group stopped to rest at the Emerald Pool, a deceptively calm-looking body of water just above the main drop. Despite a metal guardrail and numerous signs warning of the extreme danger, Hormiz, Ninos, and Ramina climbed over the barrier to get closer to the water's edge. They were just 25 feet from the precipice, posing for photos on the slick, water-polished granite. Onlookers, including other members of their group, shouted at them to come back, but their warnings were lost in the roar of the falls. Suddenly, Ramina lost her footing in the swift, icy current. As she was pulled downstream, one of the young men grabbed for her, only to be pulled in himself. The third friend then lunged to save them both, but the river was too powerful. Witnesses watched in horror as the three friends were swept helplessly toward the brink. In their final moments, one couple was seen embracing tightly as they disappeared over the edge into the violent, churning mist below. Their bodies were not recovered for weeks, a testament to the unforgiving power of the river they had so tragically underestimated. Case 3. The river's cruel grip. In August 2020, the Ode family was enjoying a beautiful summer day at Crescent Falls, a popular and scenic spot on the Bighorn River in Alberta, Canada. Partab and Venger Ode, along with their 3 young children and their nephew, Anoop, had come to the falls to escape the heat and enjoy the stunning natural scenery. The area is known for its powerful, cascading water and picturesque pools, making it a favorite destination for families. The children were playing near the water's edge, while the adults waded into the river to cool off, soaking in the idyllic afternoon. But the beauty of Crescent Falls masks a hidden danger. The currents, especially near the base of the falls, are notoriously strong and unpredictable. In a horrifying instant, one of the adults was caught by the powerful flow and dragged toward the turbulent plunge pool. Without a moment's hesitation, the other 2 adults rushed in to help, desperate attempt to save their loved one. But their heroic efforts were in vain. The river's grip was absolute, and all 3 were pulled under the crushing weight of the waterfall. Their children, watching from the bank, witnessed the entire horrific event unfold. The family's day of joy had turned into an unimaginable tragedy. Rescue teams were called, but it was too late. Over the next 24 hours, divers recovered the bodies of Partab, Venjar, and Anoop, leaving 3 children orphaned in the blink of an eye. Local authorities later spoke of the heartbreak, emphasizing that visitors consistently underestimate the raw power of the water, a fatal misjudgment that this family paid for with their lives. Case 4. The final vlog. Riker Gamble, Alexei Lyak, and Megan Scraper were the faces of High on Life, a popular travel vlogging group known for their breathtaking, adrenaline-fueled content. Their brand was built on pushing limits and capturing spectacular, often risky, moments in some of the world's most beautiful locations. In July 2018, the trio, with Alexei and Megan as a couple, and Riker as a close friend, were exploring Shannon Falls in British Columbia, Canada. This towering 1,100-foot waterfall was the perfect backdrop for their next viral video. Seeking a unique shot, they hiked to a series of pools at the top of the falls, an area far off the designated tourist path. While filming, Megan slipped on the slick rock and was swept into a fast-moving channel of water, pulling her toward the edge of a 100-foot drop. In a split-second decision, both Alexei and Riker leaped in after her, a desperate, instinctive act to save their friend. But the current was relentless. A 4th friend, who was also there, watched in horror as all 3 were dragged over the precipice and disappeared into the pools below. The search and rescue operation was complex and dangerous, but the outcome was tragically inevitable. The next day, the bodies of all 3 friends were recovered. The incident sent shockwaves through the online community, sparking a debate about the ethics of influencer culture and the deadly risks some are willing to take for the perfect shot. The surviving members of High on Life later released an emotional tribute, remembering their friends as some of the kindest and most driven people they knew. A group whose passion for life ultimately led them to their deaths. Case 5. A Mother's Instinct. In the cold of January 2023, 33-year-old Rachel Patching and her 52-year-old mother, Helen, were on a holiday trip to the Brecon Beacons in Wales, an area renowned for its stunning natural beauty. They decided to explore Waterfall country, a picturesque region famous for its scenic trails and cascading falls. The winter conditions had made the paths wet and slippery, and the rivers were swollen and fast-flowing. The 2 women were enjoying their walk, taking in the dramatic landscape, when their peaceful outing took a tragic turn. While the exact sequence of events remains uncertain, the coroner's inquest painted a heartbreaking picture. It's believed that one of the women, likely Rachel, slipped and fell into the frigid, rushing water. Evidence found at the scene, including a discarded backpack, suggested that Helen, seeing her daughter in peril, immediately went to her aid. It was a mother's instinct, a selfless act of love in the face of sudden danger. But the river was too powerful, the water too cold. Both women were quickly overwhelmed and drowned. Their bodies were later recovered from the watercourse by emergency services. The coroner ruled their deaths a tragic accident, but issued a stark warning about the dangers of the area, highlighting the confusing signage, slippery paths, and, crucially, the complete lack of cell phone signal, which made calling for help impossible. It was a devastating reminder that even in the most beautiful places, tragedy can strike without warning, and a mother's love, however powerful, is sometimes no match for the forces of nature. Case 6. The Sudden Surge. In late September 2025, a group of 14 tourists, a mix of local residents and international visitors, were enjoying a day at On Cha Waterfall, a beautiful multi-tiered cascade near the hill town of Pien U Lwin in Myanmar. The group, which included couples and friends, was relaxing and playing in a pool at the base of the falls, soaking in the idyllic scenery. The weather seemed calm, and there was no sign of the impending disaster that was about to unfold. Without warning, a sudden surge of water, a flash flood from the mountains above, came roaring down the falls. The torrent of water was immense and instantaneous, catching the group completely by surprise. 5 people were instantly swept away, dragged into the violent current, and pulled over a series of drops totaling an estimated 400 feet. One man, a Russian tourist, miraculously survived by wedging himself between 2 rocks, though he suffered a broken leg. The others were not so lucky. Rescue teams scrambled to the scene, but the power of the water was overwhelming. They managed to recover the bodies of 2 women downstream, but 2 others, including an American, were missing, presumed dead. The incident was a horrifying reminder of the unpredictable nature of mountain rivers, where a storm miles upstream can send a deadly wall of water downstream with no warning. For the victims at On Cha Waterfall, their day of leisure turned into a terrifying fight for survival they could not win. Case 7. The Hero's Sacrifice. In the warm days of June 2024, James Hall, 35, and his girlfriend, Monica Ledesma, 34, were on a day trip to Angel Falls, a popular hiking and swimming spot near Bass Lake in California. The area, close to Yosemite, is known for its beautiful waterfall and natural pools, but also for its dangers: slippery granite rocks and surprisingly strong currents. The couple, who loved the outdoors, were looking forward to a relaxing day in nature, away from the hustle and bustle of daily life. But their idyllic outing turned into a nightmare. Other hikers at the falls noticed an unresponsive woman in the water and immediately called 911. When deputies arrived, they found Monica's body. Nearby, they discovered personal belongings that suggested she hadn't been alone. A search was launched, and soon after they found James's body further downstream. The full, heartbreaking story emerged later through a GoFundMe page set up by his family. It's believed that Monica had somehow gotten into trouble in the water, and James, without a second thought for his own safety, had jumped in to save her. It was a final, heroic act of love. But the current was too strong, the water too treacherous. In his desperate attempt to save the woman he loved, James was also pulled under. The couple, who had come to the falls to share a day of joy, died together in the very same waters. Statement from his family said it all. James died a hero trying to save his girlfriend, Monica. Unfortunately, they both were taken from us. These stories are a powerful and tragic reminder that nature's beauty demands our respect. The line between awe and danger can be incredibly thin, and a single misstep can have irreversible consequences. While the memories of these couples are now forever tied to these beautiful, yet deadly places, their stories serve as a crucial warning to all who seek adventure in the wild. Be safe, be aware, and never underestimate the power of the world around you.